Today we're going to be talking all about affordable and high quality shimmer shadows. I'm focusing mostly on single shadows, but I do have a couple of eyeshadow formulas I'm going to talk about as well. This is a subject I've become more and more passionate about over time, especially as people have asked me for options that I recommend. And I've discovered that there's truly some incredible formulas that are basically what I would consider to be affordable luxury. And when I say that, I mean the quality of the product that you're getting inside. That being said, there are some brands that also have some pretty incredible packaging for the price point. But by and large, that's where we experience a compromise when we do. I have detailed swatches and try-ons and commentary about the formulas, so let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with the ColourPop SuperShock shadows. These are a classic for a reason. Typically, they retail for about $7 a piece. This shade that I'm holding is a part of a recent release. Just before the holidays, they came out with these neutrals with a twist trios, and each one retails for $18 and includes 3 shades. They have one that leans cool, neutral, and one that leans warm. And I do have a dedicated video on these that I'm going to link in the cards. This formula is so unique. It feels like a putty in the pan, but it sets down, lasts well in the eyes, and they do have a fair bit of sparkle. Now, the thing about the SuperShock is that you do have some variety in the level of sparkle depending on the shade. So just know that there is some variation from that standpoint, but there's so many classics, so many great shades in this range. And every time I talk about the SuperShock shadows, I simply have so many people tell me how much they love the formula or have a favorite shade in this range. Next, I'm going to talk about the Chroma Light single shadows from Moira. And Moira has a whole lot of affordable makeup. I think there's a lot that's good. There is some that I'm not as much a fan of, but I think very highly of the Chroma Light single shadows. You have shades with some great duochrome and multichrome shifts. The texture of these shadows is very approachable. It's not emollient in the pan. It's very sparkly and high impact. These shades are constantly going on sale too, or Moira is having some kind of website promo. This is another formula I've had so many people tell me how much they enjoy. I do want to mention that with the Star Show pots, I'm not sure if those even exist anymore. I had a fair amount of creasing, and they're cream pots that are supposed to be maybe a bit of a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury ones have a pretty mixed review. Not the case with these, and I have a dedicated video on a bunch of shades that I'm going to link as well. All right, this is a formula that I've definitely been sleeping on, and a brand that I've been sleeping on as well. I've had so many people tell me that I need to try more from Catrice, and they are so right. I was specifically asked what my thoughts were on these single shadows as well as their jelly eyeshadow sticks, and so I picked up a few of the shades. Oh my, do you see that swatch? If you handed me this single shadow without any labels on it and asked me if I thought that this was a formula that was available for under $10, I would say probably not. These are spectacular eyeshadows. Somebody told me recently that they think that these may not be permanent or they're getting discontinued. So just FYI, in case you had your eye on these, like the Moira, I feel like the texture of these they're not emollient at all. They're very sparkly. Honestly, I feel like the impact of these is even higher than the Chroma Light shadows. Next, we have a formula that I've talked about many, many times before, and that is the Beauty Creations Writing Solo Single Shadows. This product is impressive to me on so many levels. One is the packaging is really nice. Honestly, I feel like this packaging feels high-end. You get a little magnetic closure. And these shimmers are also incredibly high impact, probably up there with Catrice. Some of the shades are even more high impact than the Catrice that I just swatched. Exhibit A here with the shade Texas Blues. Each of these shades retails for $6. I have no notes about this formula or the packaging. The only thing is that they do have a whole lot of neutral shades and an overall smaller collection of colorful shades. I do wish that they would expand the range to include some more kind of exciting shades. This is one of the most colorful ones in the range. No emollients with this formula either. Lasts well on the eyes, tons of sparkle, and with all of the formulas that I've talked about so far, I would recommend some type of tacky primer. I'm going to list some options for tacky primers in the description box in case you're curious. Next, we have the Jelly Shimmer Sticks from Catrice. These are called the Drunken Diamonds. This formula is also new to me, and probably as you've noticed, a lot of brands are offering some type of jelly shimmer stick. I really haven't tried a formula that's disappointing in this type of format. The bigger question really is which formulas sort of stand out to me. Now, the finish of these shimmer sticks are very metallic. They're very high impact. There isn't a ton of sparkle. This is a different finish from like the iridized violet shade from Juicy, which is super sparkly, and the Dose of Colors, It's Literally Magic, which are basically glitter toppers. This shade reminds me a little bit of a few from like Tower 28. Even a few of the kind of like metallic formulas from Danessa Myricks. Not the foil formulas though. So if you're curious about these eyeshadow sticks and this is the type of finish that you're going for, I think these are a really great option. Also, these are available for $7, which is a great deal. As far as I can see, they only come in 3 warm neutral shades. Next, we have the multi-chrome eyeshadow sticks from ColourPop, and they recently made their Winx shades permanent, which is great because those are definitely beloved and were previously limited edition. These are for around $12, I believe. They're very smooth, they're easy to apply, they have beautiful chrome shifts. I love that you can use them as one and done shades, as an eyeliner on the waterline for graphic looks. I would describe these as not being sparkly, but having a really pretty glow to them. And when it comes to the multi-chrome or chrome shade offerings, there's only a few at this point. I do really hope to see that this line expands in the future. This formula is a definite favorite of mine from ColourPop. Okay, next we have a product I've talked about many times before. That's the Chameleon Chrome Highlighters from Wet n Wild. I include these in this video because these are beautiful as eyeshadow or as a inner corner highlight or brow bone highlight. I actually prefer using them that way because they are so sparkly. You can just do a light dusting on the face. It's not my preferred formula for a face highlight, but beautiful in other types of application. At this point, they only have a green one and a blue one. I really hope to see more shades from them this spring. But this capsule collection from Wet n Wild is a definite favorite of mine from all of their releases last year. This collection also included some other products like foil lip glosses, some chrome flakes, some multi-chrome eyeliners. Definitely keep your eye on Wet n Wild because they are really doing it when it comes to fun makeup. Okay, next I really want to talk about these highlighters from NYX. This is the Buttermelt highlight formula in the pressed powder version. Now I'm showing you one of the fun shades because I think these ones make really beautiful eyeshadows in addition to being pretty highlighters. I really love this as a face highlight, but this is also beautiful as an eyeshadow. It's the shade Butter and Black. It's a beautiful kind of duochrome, deep purple green shifting shade. You see how you get some sparkle with it, especially when you really build it up. But honestly, a lot of the shades in this line would be really pretty as eyeshadows as well. Of course, using highlighters as eyeshadows is not a new concept. I just think that this formula from NYX makes great eyeshadows. The other kind of fun shades, in my opinion, in this line are the pink one, the lilac one, and the mint one. Next, we have another formula that you've heard me talk about quite a bit, and that's the Mini Mix palettes from Sephora. And this one actually comes like glued into that little packaging. I just decided to remove it, mostly for the ease of showing it on camera and for using it. This is the Boss Berry palette that includes a blue-brown duochrome shadow. These retail for $10 a piece, and they have some very high impact shades in them. They don't all have the same ratios of shimmers to mattes, but this little palette is one that stuck out to me. The lilac one also really stuck out to me. But I think these are a tremendously good value. And they're not just good for the price, they're just good. And listen, I've tried a few of the Ulta brand eyeshadows, but in my own limited experience, I feel like the Sephora brand has the Ulta brand beat when it comes to impact. Okay, next I had to mention the eyeshadow palettes from Wet n Wild. Now, this particular palette that I'm showing was limited edition, but I just wanted to mention the formula because they've come out with quite a few cool limited edition collections this year. And I honestly would expect them to do the same this coming year. I think these collections have been doing very well for them. This one was in collaboration with Disney Villains. They had one that was also in collaboration with My Melody. The formulas in these palettes that I think are pretty solid in general are the mattes, and I love these shimmers. I don't like the pressed glitters that they include for me personally, but if you see a color story that speaks to you, I do think that you'll get a pretty high quality with these palettes. And I gotta say, they are doing some really fun collaborations. They had the ones that I mentioned, and then they also had one around the Halloween season called the Fantasy Makers. That collection included so many fun products. And you can see from the tutorial that I'm doing that these colorful mattes are really performing well. And the shimmers don't have a chrome shift to them, but they are shiny and pretty high impact. Okay, another brand that I want to put on your radar is Morphe. And in 2025, Morphe did pretty much a full 180 when it comes to their packaging aesthetic, the formulations, and the quality of their products in general. These eyeshadow palettes are honestly really nice, and when it comes to the shimmers in particular, what's cool is that they have a shimmer formula that can be used either wet or dry. Swatch dry, they already are pretty impressive, and then you try them wet and they are basically like a liquid metal, which is how I applied this silver both on my eyes and in the second swatch. You can see how amped up it gets. I'm definitely excited to see what they're going to do in 2026. You can get Morphe at Ulta, and their holiday palettes actually sold out before I had a chance to try them. Let me know in the comments if you tried anything from them recently. Okay, next I also really wanted to mention the palettes from ColourPop. I feel like these are also a really good value. Of course, some palettes are better than others. I think that their monochromatic 9-pan eyeshadow palettes are a staple. I love this grayscale one. The metallics in here are so smooth, high impact. They're not the sparkliest, but they're very shiny and metallic. And I am glad that even though they have limited edition collections that kind of come in and out of stock, they have a staple kind of set of products that are pretty readily available. They also sell at Target at this point. And at Ulta as well. I think they've also gotten the memo that people don't like pressed glitters in their palette, and they seem to be doing them less overall from what I've been able to notice. My favorite palettes are this one, which is the Blow and Smoke, 1111, Aurora Struck, and Stone Cold Fox. Okay, and I'm going to finish up by talking about two formulas from Naba Cosmetics. The first are their single shadows. They've actually got a lot of formulas that are really great. I don't have time to talk about all of them in this video, but definitely check out the website. They've got jelly sticks, they've got palettes, they've got single shadows. A recent formula that I was sent and that I've been testing out are these creamy pigments. I love the packaging, and this formula is super high impact. I like that the shades in general have a lot of sparkle. Some of them are very dimensional, especially like a shade like this called Deep Sea that has all the multicolored sparkles in it. Don't be fooled by the name creamy pigment, by the way. I was concerned that that would mean that this formula is very emollient. I do not feel that's the case. It is a little bit softer than something like the Moira or the Catrice that I talked about earlier, but it's not squishy. And I would use a Tacky primer with this in the same way. Again, the formula of these feels more expensive than the price point would suggest. There's a bunch of really beautiful, cool, unique shades in this range. Definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, last but not least from Naba, we have the iridescent palettes. This is called the Orbit palette. I would recommend trying to get this on sale because I see it on sale fairly often. You get 9 shades in here, and I do feel like you have a very nice variety. The texture is approachable. These can totally be used as face highlighters if you want them to. I say that because the texture is pretty smooth. You can layer it up a little bit if you want to get a higher intensity. Don't get me wrong, these aren't the highest impact iridescents that I've tried, but I do feel like they're nice and they're approachable, and that makes them valuable and versatile. They've got some other palettes in this type of format, but the Orbit palette I feel like is a definite recommendation of mine. All right, that wraps up all of the formulas I wanted to talk about today. I want to periodically do this style of video because I know that this is not comprehensive. There's actually lots of really great affordable options out there. I would love to hear if you've tried any of these formulas, or if you have any formulas you'd recommend for me to try and perhaps include in a future video. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.